All right, welcome back to another adventure with the Dukes family as we try to make it through these practicals in the virtual world. So today we are going to be talking about the fracture tests and then proper ways to splint fractures once you find them. Luckily enough, I actually have the little nice metal and foam finger splint. So today our athlete is a volleyball player who has had her fingers stubbed by the ball and it hurts a little bit more than your usual stub. So we're going to do the squeeze or POTS compression test to see where that bone tenderness is. Maybe see if we feel a little bit of that crepitus feeling or maybe a little bit of like displacement in the fingers here along the digit. So we'll start with that, and then we'll get into some of the ways that you could splint the fingers. They're a little bit funny sometimes because they don't give you the most to work with, but luckily it doesn't take a whole lot to be able to splint a finger. If you don't have one of the actual splints, you can always use the buddy method. So you just need a little bit of tape and then you wrap them up real good. You could use things like popsicle sticks to add some rigidity to that splint if you had anything like that as well. So with the POTS compression test, what you want to do is you want to start away from where the injury is. So the athlete came to me and was complaining around like the middle of the finger, close to that first joint. So you're going to start distally from that and kind of start out here at the end of the finger. You can go ahead and check that capillary refill. Make sure that blood's still getting to the distal part of the digit quickly, which good to see here. And then you want to start by kind of compressing the sides of the finger, asking if you feel any pain along the way. Nothing so far along here. Now, if you get to say this middle digit here and you get a complaint of pain, or maybe you feel a little bit of a shift, not as sturdy as another finger would feel, you know there might be a little bit of a break there. So you want to continue just to kind of feel, make sure there's not anything else hurt along the finger. Make sure to squeeze this joint into the rest of the hand just to check and make sure. So of course, what we found is most of the pain is located here in the finger. So we're going to go ahead and get this splinted up because it did feel a little bit of crepitus there. Kind of moved a little more than it should. So easy enough. You've got your splint here. What you're going to do now that you have inspected the finger, make sure that there's nothing too crazy going on. You don't need to do any kind of reductions with the finger to get the bones back into the right place. Then once you've got that, you'll get your tape, you'll get your splint, and you're going to get the athlete into the splint. So first you want to go and put the splint around the finger, open it up a little bit more so that you don't have to force it on there. Then you're just going to lay it down and compress that splint down over the finger. You want to make sure you get it a little tight, but not too tight. This one still has its little own device to hold it in place, depending on what you got going on. If you're worried about moving, say it was here, but you also have some pain in this joint here, you could go ahead and splint and still attach with tape to another finger. That way this joint doesn't have the ability to move, but in this case we don't have to worry about that. So this splint will do just fine. Now with a finger splint, it does get a little bit difficult to actually try to test your capillary refill, but if you can see a little bit of the nail, you can give it a little press, see what you can see. But you can also still check your neurological signs by scratching the end of the finger, seeing if they can feel that. That way you know you don't have too much pressure on the finger with the splint. And then once you've got all that done, this finger is held and immobilized correctly, good to go. You're going to go ahead and get them on the way to the emergency room. That way they can get some x-rays taken, make sure what's going on in there, see how bad it is, and see what they need to do from there. If it's just a small fracture or even if it's a full break, but it's not necessarily out of place or causing any bigger issues inside the hand, they may be stuck in a splint like this for 3-4 weeks, and then get to move into something along the lines of maybe taping it with a buddy to reinforce it before they can start their return to play process. But that's pretty much everything when it comes to splinting the finger. So I think I'm good to go there. All right.